Hello, I would like to show you now how to search for specific journals, and then I would like to look into some journals on how different journals do references, so how they reference their sources. Um, so now most library websites have search tools, and here at Texas State University the library website has this button periodicals. If you click on it, it will actually get you to a list where you can search periodicals in it. You can also browse in here. They're pre-sorted under music, so they have 844 music journals here, but I want to look for a particular one. Now I will go through a few others later on. Journal of the American Musicological Society, and then it will actually show you which databases have access to this journal and from which year on or through which year. So for example, JSTOR has everything from 1948 on through today, but there is a full text delay of 4 years. It looks like Gale 1 file, Fine Arts, has everything through the present. I'm not sure if that's, I assume that is full access as well, full text access. Anyways, I will go to JSTOR here, and it brings me directly to this journal. And so if I open the most recent ones, so there's a 4-year delay. That means the latest one is 2016 in this case. So let me just randomly open the latest one available. Then you have the table of contents, and then you can download a particular article. So you can also search for a particular article if you know, or you can search for a particular author. Anyways, I want to look into a journal and see how this journal does references. So of course, scholarly work has usually lots of references, and so if we look into this journal article, we'll see footnotes, right? And then it says see this article, brew, and the short title of the article. So that is the reference. So all the references in the footnote. So now if I want to find out what this article is, I'll have to go through the very end of the article to the bibliography, where all the literature is listed in alphabetical order. And I go to brew, and there are all the articles listed here. So this particular one, I believe it was this one. So there's a complete bibliographic information here. So let me just go back to the beginning. So there can also be a reference to a particular chapter of a source. Or let's look into some other footnotes here. So there are references as well. See Pellegrino, and the short title of this article, and then another one. And then there are also extra explanations. So in this particular journal, footnotes are used for both references and extra explanations. Now you can see in the text that references are made to information given in the text. So they're not necessarily direct quotes. There could be some direct quotes, but most of them are actually not. So the author uses some information from some other sources and then references those other sources, or gives reference to further information in another source. Now let me see if I can locate a direct quote in here. Well, here's one word in direct quote, but let me find a longer quote. Now, a lot of these references could also be indirect quotes. That means it could be a paraphrased quote from a certain source, and then the source would be given in the footnote. Regardless of whether some information is just an idea or a paraphrased quote or a direct quote, you always have to reference your sources. In fact, most of the plagiarism that is going on is actually unintended plagiarism, because usually it's sloppy work with sources where authors don't keep track of their sources and then forget to reference something, or you read something, you get an idea from a source, but then you later forget where you got the idea from, and then you don't list it in your references, and that's an act of plagiarism. Now here I found a direct quote, and you can see among the many footnotes up to this point, 24, this may very well be the very first direct quote. So it's also indirect quotes, or simply references of thoughts or ideas or facts given in the article that need to be referenced. So in this case, it's done in footnotes. So in your reference style, whether you use APA or Chicago or any other reference style, you need to look up on how to list references in footnotes, to look up the footnote style if you want to use footnotes. And then at the very end, you have the bibliography, which is in alphabetical order. And for scholarly research, those bibliographies, in this case it's called works cited, are relatively lengthy. Now let me look into another one, Journal of Research in Music Education, and here it is available in full text. There's also a 4-year delay, but there may be other databases that don't have the delay. Now, of course, the previous journal that I showed you would have used Chicago style because it's a musicological journal. This journal most likely will use a APA style because it's a music education journal. And okay, here's an article on singing accuracy, children singing accuracy. It doesn't really matter. I just want to look into one of those articles. And of course, there are footnotes. In this case, it's the affiliation of the author. Let me see where are footnotes. There are no other footnotes here. Maybe there are either no footnotes in this article or they use endnotes, but the references are done in author date references. I will show that in just a little bit. So it seems like in this particular article there are no footnotes, but all the references are done in author date as author date reference. So here, for example, at the end of this paragraph, we have an author date reference. So in this case, there are 3 authors who authored an article or a book, but it's the author name or names and the year of publication. And if it refers to a specific page, then it should also be followed by the page number. Here in this example, or in this paragraph, there are 2 references in parentheses. So let's look at one of them here: Yarborough, Morrison, and Carrick, 1997. So we'll go to the end of the article, and there we have this reference. Can't really highlight this. This reference in APA style, it looks like. So we have the authors, the year of publication, the title of the article, the journal title, the volume number, the page numbers, and then there's a website address, if that article is available in full text online. All right, let me actually go into one more article just to see if there are other articles that actually use footnotes in the Journal of Research in Music Education. Okay, I don't see any. So it may possibly that this journal actually discourages footnotes. But whenever author date references are used in the text, the footnotes are only for extra explanations, but the references are in the actual text. Of course, one could have an extra explanation in the footnote and then also the reference to that extra explanation in the footnote. But at least it reduces the number of footnotes needed if one uses author date references. All right. So let me maybe search for one more journal, music theory spectrum. So we had musicology earlier, then music education, now music theory. Here it's also available in JSTOR with a 4-year delay. So I'll go into the latest available issue, and okay, here's an article on structural role of distortion in hard rock and heavy metal. All right, there is an increase of scholarship on popular music, which is wonderful. And here we have the article, and it might be a little bit small on the screen. Let's see if I will download the PDF. So it is a little bit bigger. We have the title, we have an abstract, keywords, and here the footnotes are then there are footnotes in the text referring to the bottom with both extra explanations and references. So it looks like they actually use the author date reference style, but inside of footnotes. So compared to the Journal of the Journal of the American Musicological Society, they used a different style in their footnotes. Here they use author date references inside footnotes. So all the references are in footnotes, which means that already on the second page of the article you can have up to 11 footnotes or however many. So anyways, it's important to know how this is done. There are several different ways one can do this, and I wanted to show a few. And let's see, I actually wanted to show you a journal that I am editing, the South Central Music Bulletin at scmb.us. It's an open access journal. scmb.us stands for South Central Music Bulletin. It originally grew out of the South Central chapter of the College Music Society, but then they didn't want it anymore, and it got separated. And so we have now 1 volume per year, and there's some interesting research on a wide range of topics, really any music topic. So let's look at here an article on combating racism, starting on page 41. Let me scroll there. I wanted to show you. So this happened to be an article written for a class of mine. So she was a student in a class I'm teaching African American popular music, and it turned out to be a very good paper. And as you can see here, references are done in the text as author date references, then followed by comma with the page number that is being referred to. So now if there are footnotes, then they're only used for extra explanations. So the number of footnotes would be very small and possibly none. So in this case, there are actually none. So all references are in author date style. So if you want to read a sample article just to see how research can be structured, how research looks like, even by young scholars, go to scmb.us and consider submitting an article to it. Just email me if you write an article for one of your courses, or just in your free time because of your research interest. So anyways, I wanted to also briefly discuss article summaries. So once you find articles that are related to the topic of your research, then you need to start reading your articles and basically do an article summary. So for that, you always include the complete bibliographic information of the article that you are summarizing. At first your name, then the bibliographic information, as if you would list this article in the bibliography, and then simply notes. That means a summary. That means not necessarily your thoughts on it, although if you mark them as such, you can include your thoughts as well, but a summary of what the author says. Those summaries are very important because you can actually use those summaries then to summarize existing literature on your topic in your paper that you are writing. So this is a step before that. You read others' articles, you summarize them, and then you use your summary to actually write the summary of existing research in your paper that you're writing. Anyways, as an assignment for my students right now, I would like you to locate an article find an article in any of the databases that we discussed on the topic for which you just wrote a paper proposal, and I want you to choose the best article that fits most closely to your topic and do an article summary. So have 1, 2, or 3 or however many pages of just summary, just brief points, the most important findings that in the article that you're reading, and then send me that article summary as today's homework. Anyways, the best way to learn to pursue research is to read good research by other authors, and that's why I'd like you to read in detail one other article that was recently written, and that's basically on the top of their scholarship. So and it fits to your interest, and it can feed into your paper, but you also see on how research is being organized and written. So have fun with that,